One of the reasons why people sometimes don't give an assertive communication or message is because often it's colored with emotions. They're angry, frustrated, upset, sad, and it's the emotion that comes out rather than the facts. So there's a very interesting technique that can help us to separate the facts from how you feel about it. That technique is called the desk methodology. Example, suppose that you're working with 5 colleagues in a little project group. And suppose there's one team member that always arrives late. Now, late is not 5 minutes. Late is really between 15 and 45 minutes late. Now, of course, that has an emotional impact on how you feel, on the impact, on the motivation on the team, etc. So you want to mention something about that. So next time you're in that meeting and that person enters again, 35 minutes late, a possible reaction could be something like, hey, every time you do the same thing, that is not okay. Don't you see that? That is not how we collaborate. I mean, please, when will you grow up? Blah, blah, blah. So what did I do? I just threw my frustration, my emotion to that person. Now, a very possible reaction will be that I get emotion back from that person. Behavior creates behavior. So we come into a conflict. My desk methodology will actually help me to give my message more structured. What is the desk? D stands for describe. Describe the facts and the figures. Very neutral. Observe and explain what you've observed. The E stands for your emotion. Express how you feel about that situation. What is the impact, the emotional impact that you have? The S stands for suggest a solution. 2 ways how to do that. You can ask that person, how will you solve that? Or you can come with a solution. Last is a contract, the C. Can I count on you? Do you agree? Shall we do that? My example with my colleague. If I would use my desk, I would say, hey, with the D, I've seen that for the past 5 weeks, you've arrived between 15 and 45 minutes late. Now, what I also noticed is that when you entered, you wanted us to repeat everything we discussed before because you wanted to be aware of all the decisions that were made. Now, there's no emotion involved. These are just the facts and the figures. If I go then to my E, I could say, well, I don't like it. To be honest, I'm disappointed. Because to me, that is not a very respectful way of collaboration. Not only that, it also impacts the motivation of the team because we're afraid we will not reach our deadline for our project. So that is the emotional impact that you have on that situation. Suggest solution, I could say, so what will you do about that? Or I could come up with a solution saying, from now onwards, I want you to be 5 minutes before the meeting starts present in the meeting room. And then I can go to my C. Okay, can we agree? Can I count on you? Now, suppose a person says yes, and a week later, that person is again 25 minutes late. I could use my desk again, and I could say, listen, last week we agreed that you would be present 5 minutes before the meeting would start. E. I see that you're 25 minutes late, and I'm really disappointed about that. This is not how I want to collaborate. I find this very disrespectful. S. So what I want from now onwards is that you are always at least 5 minutes present before the meeting, and then we find a second C, consequences. Otherwise, I'll have to ask you to leave our project group, or I'll have to tell your management, or etc., etc. So we can use that desk in many forms and ways. The very good thing about using the desk methodology is that it separates the facts from the emotions. What is also really good is that we then switch our focus to a solution. We don't stay stuck to the problem, but we start looking for solutions. And then we go for an okay, for a contract or consequences. Too often it happens that people say, well, I never agreed. You wanted me to do something, but I never said that I would do it. Did I? So go for that contract. No, it's a structure that you need to start practicing. You can use that in mails. You can use that as a preparation for meetings or difficult conversations. So really sit down and write down, what are my Ds? What are my Es? What are my S's that I want to share? And what is the C?